So last month, folks, the Prime Minister Andrew Holness advised us that there will be a reshuffling of his cabinet, and just a few days ago, those changes were made, bringing in some old and new faces. But what does this mean for the administration? Here with us this morning is public commentator and political analyst, Mr. Kevin O'Brien Chang, to share some insight into the reshuffling of cabinets and the roles within it. Good morning, sir, and welcome to Smile Jamaica. Happy New Year to you and your family, sir.
Morning, lady, and morning, gentlemen.
I'll ask you for an overall comment if it was necessary, and then I'll probably get a little bit specific on some of the movements in the cabinet. So was this necessary from where you are sitting, sir?
I think necessary to please the media. The media likes excitement, and they want changes. So they were the ones more than anybody else demanding it.
So you don't think it was necessary for the Prime Minister to make any moves at all?
No, I think some moves were definitely necessary. Some moves were definitely necessary. The number one need for the JLP, in my view, was a dedicated information minister. They've done quite a bit, concrete work, right? But the public hardly knows about it. I've been given this example. The other day I saw a police station online, Mount Salem, before and after. It's like a boardhouse and a hotel. And I said, how many of these, I asked, how many of these have been done? Then I got to answer back online, 110. I had no idea that 110 police stations had been renovated. I don't think the public knows that. And that's just one example. So dedicated information minister was the number one need of this administration.
Yeah.
No point in good work if nobody knows about it when you look in their votes.
Right.
And the other thing, go on.
No, go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Finish your point.
A couple of the things I thought needed to be done. Mr. Montague, for example, nothing personal against the man, seems to be a very hard worker. But he's been with security, agriculture, now transport. That each time there's been some kind of imbroglio, accusations of impropriety or corruption. Not saying anything proven, but accusations. A lot of noise there. And you thought maybe the Prime Minister, after Bruce Golding's speech at the JP conference about use your political capital, don't make people think you have a corrupt administration, he might have taken a harder stance. Well, he moved him from transport, but he kept him in the OPM office. So, some message sent there, but a strong enough one, when the public will decide on that.
So you think he should have been removed from the cabinet totally?
If you wanted to send a very strong message about corruption to the nation and to your party, that any misbehavior, you're going to have serious consequences. Even Floyd Green, a good guy, everybody likes him, smart, I like Floyd. But that party thing, when there's a lockdown, bring him back after a few months is like a wrist tap. But again, Mr. Holness, Prime Ministers have a difficult job, You got to keep people happy. That's one of the big things. You want to address impropriety accusations. You want to have the best cabinet possible in terms of energy and competence. But you have to keep your own party happy. And look at Derek Smith and Bruce Golding recently. Derek Smith wrote a book. It's 2008 when he was removed from the cabinet. That's 13 years ago. He's not happy. Bruce Golding wrote a letter back. Derek Smith wrote a letter back. Bruce Golding wrote a letter back. This is 13 years. And look at Carl Samuda. I thought Samuda and Shaw, Carl Samuda, Audley Shaw, they have done well for their country and party, but past their prime. You want younger guys, younger people with more energy and drive. And he never kept. And Mr. Samuda is, when people say that the baby should have been removed, he's licking out that in the newspaper. Ageism. So it's a difficult thing to keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
And while my ideal cabinet would not be what it is there, you can kind of understand from the human element why Mr. Holness may have to keep some people there to keep everybody happy and not quarreling with him.
Yeah. Well, you've gone to a couple that I was going to ask you about, so I could move on from that. What about Dr. Chang? Some people thought that he would have been removed.
Now, ask a question. I've been in Jamaica since '89. I came back from school. Have you ever heard people say this security minister is performing very well? No. It's a poison chalice because we have structural, educational, cultural problems that cause our high murder rate. And yet you expect the security minister to come and magically change things when it requires deep digging into the bones of our society. The education system is a disaster in lower income areas, the garrisons, for example, So there's serious problems, and every security minister has, you consider a failure. KD Knight, Peter Phillips, Derek Smith, Colonel Macmillan. Dwight Nelson is the only one people said murder fell under him because of the state of emergency. Murder went up under Peter Bunting also. It went up under Montague when he first came. It's actually down under Dr. Chang. He took it at 1,600 murders, there's 1,400. There's no great shakes, 1,400. But it shows that the record is poor because it's a societal problem we refuse to address as a society and then look for scapegoats, commissioner of police, the security minister. It's been a pattern in Jamaica, and we keep being delusional, or deliberately so. Maybe we don't want societal change. The murder rate is there, we don't want to change this stuff, so we look for people to blame.
All right, so let's talk
Nobody's going to do.
I was going to say, so let's talk about the societal change, because some of the areas that I feel are key to that are education, culture, and so on. I think
exactly.
There was a feeling that given all that's happening with education, and I understand you're saying the need to have a dedicated information minister, but it seems as if Favour Williams is now left on her own without any kind of supporting minister in an education ministry that's now going through a very tough time.
I agree. The youth portfolio, I don't see how she can manage education, which is tough, and youth, which Robert Nestor Morgan is managing.
Right.
I think she should be given help. Mr. Holness said it's not finished. Somebody like Kerencia Morrison or Sophia Longmore, who's a doctor. People like those could take over the youth portfolio, because I think Favour has a big burden already with the education, you know? Mm-hmm. So I agree with you there. She needs some more help, Mr. Prime Minister.
Well, talk about the Prime Minister needing help, because now OPM and then the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, another super ministry. Kevin and Brian Chang, I mean, talk to me about that one.
You can see some logic. For example, Homer Davis, he has put in charge of the Mobile bypass, which has been, Donkey has been talking, people have been talking about that, right? So having a dedicated person in the OPM office for that to keep on track, nothing wrong with that. Same thing for Floyd Green, put in charge of NIDS, right? He has Morgan as information minister. So some logic there. The other guys, I'm not sure why they're there. And it's a lot of people have in one area, almost like a mini cabinet. But as I say, the Prime Minister clearly has his ideas there. But the idea of putting people dedicated to projects to get them done faster. No, the Mobile bypass, yes, the Transport Minister could do it. But with 20 other things on the plate, it's going to take longer. Having one person dedicated should mean it can be done faster, you know?
Dr. Tufton, sir?
Well, as I say, who better to replace him? And, you know, the reality is, you know, for COVID, with all the mistakes and missteps, and every country in the world has seen them, Jamaica's COVID death rate, for example, look at our sister cousin country, Trinidad then. Our death rate is less than half of Trinidad's. It's less than half of the US, right? It's less than Barbados and Bahamas, about the same as Canada. If you look at our peers that we think about, we have not done badly in terms of how many people are dying. So would you say Tufton has done a terrible job? No. He could have done better in some areas, but if you look at the facts, you have to say he's done a decent job. Whether it's by luck or design, Jamaica has not suffered the massive death rate we've seen in some other countries similar to us.
Yeah. A new ministry, Legal and Constitutional Affairs. How critical was that?
Well, this is my take. I'm not an insider. But a few years back, when he was running for 2016, Andrew Holness said, I'm going to promise a grand referendum in the first 100 days. That's a long time ago. But should we keep the Queen? Should we go to CCJ? The Buggery Law, Ganja? We haven't seen that. I know with the republicanism in the issue here because of Barbados. Maybe this is my thought. Maybe one of the reasons for that ministry is to tell Mrs. Van Ford, we want to have this grand referendum, make sure all the legal niceties are documented, or all the P's and Q's and T's are crossed. Barbados became a republic. Their constitution isn't ready. And another issue, but if you're going to talk about constitutional change, the state of emergency the other day, we saw it voted down because of the 2/3 clause, right? 2/3 needed in the Parliament and Senate. And I can see that as a clause adding stability. But it was two MPs of PNP and 3 senators. 5 people actually voted voted down this thing. I believe the law should be changed that 2/3 of those who actually vote. Don't allow people to hide behind the skirts of others. Face the public. 71% of the public wanted the SOE, just voted down. Only 5 people. No. Change it so that 2/3 of those who actually vote have to support the issue. That change I would support. And maybe Mrs. Manafort can look at things like this in a dedicated way. The Justice Ministry getting the courts to run properly, get the backlog out of the way, the day-to-day stuff. And maybe it makes sense to have a constitutional ministry to look at the long-term things. So I guess that's a logic I see. I'm not saying it goes off.
Final question, Mr. O'Brien, Chang, and if I may change lanes just a bit. Any thought on what's happening with the compound maroons and the government?
Majoring in the minor. I think it's exciting and eye-catching, but I don't think it's a major issue to most Jamaicans. But Delia, I have a challenge for you. Floyd Morris said Miss Lou and Bob Marley should become national heroes. Juliet Holness has been called for Miss Lou to be a national hero. Bring them on. And I say this, maybe Bob Marley and Miss Lou can unite the JLP and the PNP in an issue that dear to all Jamaicans' heart. They're always differing. Maybe this one make Miss Lou and Bob Marley a national hero. They can unite around. And I'm 80%, 90% of people would support that.
You would?
Of course, Don Anderson took a poll whether there should be a new national award for national icons. 80% said yes, and most people in their minds had Bob Marley and Miss Lou. But with the call with Rihanna becoming national hero in Barbados, why not Miss Lou and Bob Marley? Jamaica is known for its culture all over the world. In a nutshell, Miss Lou created the culture, Bob Marley is created around the world. That is our greatest accomplishment since independence. The culture, Jamaica is the world's smallest global cultural superpower. And Miss Lou did more than anyone else to create that culture. Bob Marley has spread it around the world. What is Jamaica, Bob Marley? Highly deserved, and I think we need a debate on that. And bring on Floyd Morris and Juliet Holness, I'm sure, and we might see for once PNP and JLP agreeing on something that the people want. Would that be nice?
It's the 60th year. It's the time for it.
60th year. So would that be nice? Bring them on, man. Have a nice debate about that. We want Mrs. Lou and Bob Marley as national heroes.
Stay safe, sir. God bless you. God bless you and your family, sir. Stay safe.
All the best to everybody.
Yeah. Public commentator and political analyst Kevin O'Brien Chang.
Up next, Tony and Nita Elliott zooms in to tell us how we can help our Caribbean